for those of you that don't use Blast or are first thinking about Blast or just have some questions, I think that's more about what I'm going to talk about here today. I got into this because of my buddy Lincoln in the back. He kind of brought it to me. He's a guy that we use a lot to talk about hitting, to talk about our kids, to talk about getting better as a staff. And so when you, I'm a lot about people, and when you're around good people that you trust, it's the same things for those of you who play. When you're around coaches or people that you trust, you like take the handcuffs off and you're free. And so a lot of this is just about trust and about being around good folks. So my initial getting into Blast was Lincoln, and then meeting the staff, and then finding a little bit about what it does. I'm not a hitting guru. I actually don't even do all of our hitting. I assist. We have another coach who does the same amount of work. So we work as a group. We don't have a hitting guru. We have a hitting staff. And so we talk about our kids and figure out what the best plan is for all of them. So, but one of the things that I told our staff that I wanted to do once we made the commitment to go to Blast was I really didn't want to have any talk about it for about 3 to 4 months. I just wanted to catalog the swings and just not, I mean, even with our kids, I think the craziest thing, the best thing about coaching the female athlete is that they want to do anything you tell them. And sometimes we get into a point where they're trying to outthink what you want them to do. So I felt like, let's jump in, but let's just swing. Let's let them forget that this is even on here. Because if I tell them, hey, I want to see your bat speed, this, I want to see early connection, I want to see this, this, or this, then that's all they're going to focus on. And I didn't want that. I just want them to be them, to figure out who they really are. Once we got to figure out who they are, now we can take each kid and go. I have some kids who I have to remind every day to charge. I have some kids that as soon as their thing doesn't charge, they're in my office. Hey, my charger doesn't work or this or that. It's usually just it's not plugged in to the wall right. I think what you'll find out with a lot of your kids is not every kid is gonna want to know everything that this tells you. And that's exactly what happened to us. So as we got into Blast, I've got 4 or 5 kids that want to know stuff every day. They really want to know. I've got some kids who've never asked me. Most of those kids don't play too, so that'll tell you a little bit about that. And then I've got a couple really good hitters that could care less what this thing says, because they just do what they do. They just wake up and hit. It's just who they are. So I think a couple of the things that I found out early on was that we don't hit enough. It was a wake-up call. I've got a program that we took over, and we couldn't hit, we didn't pitch, and we didn't play any kind of catch. So I knew right away, if you don't have the bona fide #1 arms, you better be able to play catch, and you better be able to pitch enough. So we spent probably 70% of our time on defense, and we play it very well. We would probably play it even better if we had OU's arms or Florida's arms or top programs like that. But we played very good catch. So we didn't put as much time into offense. We still hit. Trust me, we still hit, we still worked, and we still ran a team offense. But this year, we got a kid in our program who we thought could really help us. We actually got Blast. This is the first year. And as we got into the year, and we started to look at our Blast numbers and everything, the most alarming thing to me was our kids weren't getting the amount of swings that I thought. I thought we were getting 150 a day with contact. And the truth was we were getting 70 to about 90. And I was like, whoa, this is not enough for me. I felt like we needed to be probably in the 130 to 150 or above. And I found out very quickly that when we jumped up to that amount, we weren't in hitting shape. Our kids were breaking down past that. And I know for some of you, I'd be curious to kind of hear what that amount is for you. And I think it's different for all kids. But I think 150 swings where you're making contact is probably more than any of us think. Or at least it's what we thought. So we started, one of the things that like I saw was the more we got above the 120 with contact, the more that we started to really improve. And the more that we started to understand more, the more we started to understand how important live swings were versus off front toss. I think front toss is a great tool, but I think it can be a bad tool if that's all a kid sees. So we implemented more machine work. I used to hate the machine. I'm starting to like it more. I'm starting to use it more for a competitive piece in practice to set up some velo or a really good drop ball or a really good screw ball, whatever it is that you're going to face that week or whenever. So we used it more as a competitive piece. But what it told me was the more we're competing, the more our swings with blast were breaking down and we're changing. And so I think a lot of us we looked at this as we're getting 120 cuts or we're getting 100 cuts each day, 100 swings with contact, that maybe only a percentage of those really were under any kind of stress and any kind of competitive environment. So we figured out, okay, we now know that we're not hitting enough. We now know that we've got to improve that, so we're going to improve that. But we're also able to label each session. Each day can be labeled. In the machine area, it's going to be hard drop. Well, look, I mean, if you're facing a hard drop and it's coming in firm and nasty, I mean, your competitiveness is either going to go up, or you're going to go down fast. And that's when we were able to start to really see things that were breaking down in games. I've got a couple hitters that Lincoln and I have talked about for 2 years now that are just driving me crazy because they look like the part, they act like the part, but when they get in the batter's box, it's not what you think it's gonna be or what it does inside that cage off of front toss or even off a semi-good live arm. Okay, I wish this thing, I can't wait until it comes out and it can measure your heartbeat too. Because that's a big part of what we all do. It's a different deal, right? When you're up there and it's one of the best hitters here in the country, and when you're in there, the heartbeat, I mean, I wish we could measure that as well. So I will tell you, I have some of my kids that use Blast that I don't ever want them to look at this. I don't ever want them to. You know, if they want to kind of ask me some stuff or ask us stuff, I'm like, hey, I don't know that I would teach you anything. I don't know that I would want to change one thing. We have our leadoff kid who a lot of you know that kind of jumps up and down and wears a pacifier in her mouth, mouthpiece deal. And her swing is not what I would really want one of our young kids to come in and look like. But it hits. I mean, I don't know what else to do except leave her alone. Maybe we're going to talk to her about this. We have some kids that I think really need to be invested in Blast. Okay, and I think with any tool, this is a tool that you can add to your repertoire, what you use each day. Another story, we had a kid, a freshman this year who is a little left-hander. I mean, little, like 5'3", tiny kid, strong. Came in as a pretty good kid, as a glory kid, so played in a good organization. Won the center field job this year. Trying to think, at some point in time, got hurt. But before she got hurt, we started to notice her bat speed was going up, and her production was going down. And we sat there and talked with Lincoln for a while. We started to talk about things going, why isn't the bat speed correlating to different things? Her numbers were looking good on Blast. But but the bat speed was hitting 78 to a few would be over 80. And I was like, something is not right here. It's not making sense. So we ended up, she was using a 3310 bat. We ended up going to a 33.9 and then went up to a 34.9, and it completely changed the hitter. Slowed some things down, changed her connection stuff very, very well, and really improved her. So I found that this, for amateur hitting coach here, I found that there's some little things that, when talking with the right people that are connected with Blast, can really help you. So I think there's just a lot of things. There's so much info in this. I don't understand half of it. I really don't. I don't even try to at times. It's too much. We're probably, some of your schools here, they spend a lot of time in the analytical side, a lot of video. I'm still like to use eyes. I still like to use my eyes and say, I see that. Now I've got to have the right tools, the right people around me, right coaches, to fix that, or to make our kids aware of what's going on. You can make them aware, but you also need the how are we going to help tool. Okay, and so I think that's what Blast has too, is I can make them aware. I can see things, but I don't always have the answers on how we're going to get that fixed. So my thing has always been and will always be, I want to be surrounded by the right people. Lincoln is my hit doctor. Like when we're sick, I call him. Okay, and even when we're not sick, I want to share my knowledge, my video of what's going on. Okay, I pay my money to have him to be able to log in and see our stuff, because I think it's important to me, and I'm invested in him, and he's invested with us at times, just to be able to bounce stuff back and forth. So I think these are the things that I find that helps our program the very most. So I don't have a whole lot more to say, except I'm a big fan. Wouldn't be here if I'm not. I think that the growth that Blast has shown, the growth that they're still growing, all the stuff that's coming to us that's next is going to be exciting. I think the other thing, I think the most important thing that I left off here is the video component. Not all of you have the ability to have a full-time video person or cameras like we do all over your facilities, but I still find that I use my phone or an iPad more than anything. I use it a lot, maybe too much, I don't know, because we have so many tools, but I think at times we get caught up in too many tools. So I think for us, it's finding the product that you believe in, people that you have. I'm a fan of Blast, but I'm also a fan of the video part, where I can sit there, set an iPad up on a tripod, and be able to take an early work type deal with one kid and hit, go back and watch and pick out what we like and what we don't like. And to be able to get the cutting of the video fast, the results fast. I try to get with each kid, and we'll just talk about, hey, we're really going to focus on angle for today. That's it. I don't want you looking at bat speed. I don't want you looking at early connection. I want you just looking at this. And it's instant feedback, instant. And a lot of times we take a good cut or take two in a row and be able to stop, go back and watch immediately, and hopefully put a feeling, okay, the feeling that hitter just had with what she sees now on the video as well. And I think for all of us, these hitters really grow when they start to be able to actually communicate what they just felt. And to be able to go back and watch that instantaneously is maybe as good a tool as Blast has, besides all of the other stuff. So I think that's all I have. Probably short. You're about to hear a lot of great stuff from a lot of people who really know a lot about hitting. It's not me, so I'm excited to listen. But I'm, like I said, I think it's been a great tool. It's been a great piece of what we do And maybe most of all, whatever you're doing, whenever you're working, whenever you're coaching, if you've got relationships with good people that you trust, that's where you can really grow. And I think that goes for your hitters too. This is if this is going to be your only tool, it's all you're going to look at. I don't know that that's what I'd want to be. You'd be a robot, and I think too many of our kids now are that. They're robots, and I think it's giving them a couple numbers that they need to focus on. I know that we have 4 or 5 kids that I've already talked to them about, hey, this year, this is the next step. Okay, we've really worked on getting these 2 things right. Now we're gonna add in this. If we're trying to add in too much at the level that we're trying to play at, this becomes very hard. Hitting is already hard, and if kids are focused on the wrong stuff, man, this game becomes really hard. So like I said, we've tried to dumb it down, and now we're gonna try to ramp up this year more and more with what we've got. Now we've got a full year of catalog of swings that we committed to. I don't have any idea where our swings rated with Arkansas and the amount, or Oregon, or whoever is using butts. I have no clue. I'd be curious. That's what I want to know. But I do know that a lot of our swings are in a competitive environment. I think that's one of the things that I think all of us are a lot different in that cage there than we are when we go face 64 with movement and rise and on your hands and people screaming at you and all that kind of stuff. So great tool. Huh? Yeah, great tool. Any questions from us?
You said 150 plus swings. What about like the high school level? Do you have an idea?
I don't know. I look at, like, when we practice, we usually do like some stations. Okay, so we've got 4 stations. We have shag, we have base running, we have live on our field, and we have cages, and we rotate. Okay, the truth of the matter is, my worst hitters, they start out at live. Okay, the best hitters are in that last group. They get the privilege of going through everything. They probably shag, base run, cages, and then field. Okay, so they get to work up to it. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Maybe I should have them hit first since they're the best hitters. But you know, if we did 7, 8 rounds of 5 cuts, that's 40. And then if you're in your cage group, you're getting 40 to 50 cuts, you're at that 80, 90 range. And if you didn't do any early work that day, you're stuck there. And I thought that was plenty. But I don't know if every team is getting 8 rounds of 5 cuts. Maybe they're getting more. And we're not a group that just wants to get volume. I want to get the right cuts. I want to get live on our field. I mean, we have somebody throwing live each day. Sometimes we get double lane. Double lane days, we may get more. But I just, in my mind, I thought we were well over 100. And I was shocked. I was shocked. So I don't know, it would depend on your staff, on the amount of kids. I mean, we carry 22 kids, 4 to 5 pitch, maybe 1 or 2 of them hit. So that's a lot of cuts, a lot of stuff. So like I said, we got the machine more. But again, I think too much off that could be bad as well. You know, if somebody knows exactly where it's coming and exactly what's going on. So if you don't have a machine that you can program to change things, I think you can get into stuff. And we're way more, we're in as good a shape as anybody in the country. I'll put us up against anyone. But there's a difference in hitting shape and ground ball shape and playing a game shape. Those are different aspects. And so it took us a few weeks to really get into that type of shape to take that many cuts for us. Now, they're swinging a bat, right? But with real contact, off a ball that's moving, you better have a lot of arms or a lot of, you know, cages where you've got the machine out there, or a coach that can just go all day, or coaches. So I just think you're going to have to find out what's best for your kids. I think when we get over 140 to 50 cuts, I don't know that we're getting a lot of production. I'll let you know that this next year, because we're going to try to maintain that right from the go. So I don't know if that answers that or not. Okay, all right. Okay, thanks.